That was good, but try to add more Shyvana.
What does that even mean?
It means what it's supposed to mean.
What?
Just do it. Alright, you're just not even trying, are you?
Well, it'd be easier if you just tell me what to do.
Simple, it needs more Shyvana.
You keep saying that like it means something.
Alright, I didn't want to have to tell you this, but I deleted all your YouTube videos.
Fear me.
Yeah? That's definitely a lot of Shyvana. Don't hurt me. Greetings, my people. So I previously was thinking about doing a video with something related to Bilgewater, specifically Misfortune, cause you know, that's the bae. But then, I came across Shyvana. MF is still bae, but what brought my attention to Shyvana, besides the sheer amount of fun it is to play her, was actually a comment someone made on my Valentine's Day video. You know, the video where I talked about the League of Legends ships I support? One of them was Shyvana and Jarvan, but in that video I talked about the old lore, which this comment brought to my attention. So thank you, Black Star Angel, because you led me to read probably one of the most epic and entertaining lores Riot has reworked. But what makes this lore even more special is that when you get to its core, Shyvana's lore is a story about a daughter overcoming an abusive parent. How so, you might be asking? Well, you already know what it is. Let's start this analysis with some good old lore summary. Nesting deep within a volcano was an egg destined to inherit the fiery rune shard from her mother. This egg's life was forever changed when a daring mage attempted to extract this runic magic. Although the mother, Yvva, interrupted the process, she was not going to allow anyone to interfere with her legacy. Yvva and her mate had planned to name their progeny Shyvana and eagerly awaited the birth of their dragon child. However, unbeknownst to the both of them, the mage had infused his own mortal magic within the egg during the chaos. Eventually, the egg hatched, revealing a human with violet skin. When Shyvana cried her first cry, her body shook and rippled, taking the form of a dragon. Yvva, disgusted by what she saw as a hybrid abomination, sought to kill her own child. But her mate would not allow this. Shyvana's father fought for his child and fled with Shyvana to raise her on his own. Shyvana's father attempted to help her control her volatile power whenever they weren't running from Yvva, who continued to chase them down repeatedly. Well, you definitely have the ferocity down. We just have to work on you not burning yourself.
I'm fine.
Frustration is a part of learning. You will be able to control your fire eventually, but you have to take care of yourself to get there. And what better way to do so than with some food? Come on, let's go hunt for some raptor's meat. I've been craving it all afternoon.
Father...
Shyvana?
You're a dragon.
I see. And this entire time I thought I was a scuttle crab.
Dad!
Go on.
You have scales, wings, claws, a tail. You're obviously a dragon, but I don't have any of those. I look human, but my parents are dragons. It doesn't make any sense. If I'm not a dragon, then what am I?
Well, you have the fire of a dragon. You definitely are as ferocious as your mother. And you can turn into a dragon, just not permanently. So you're not really that different from us as you may think you are. To be honest, I can't tell you exactly what you are. All I know is that you're my daughter. Although Shyvana had a parent willing to try to raise her, she still had to continuously fight and run from a mother who would not stop at nothing to kill her. I don't think I have to do much to prove to you that this is just straight up physical abuse. Imagine seeing your own mother rushing at you, trying to kill you, while at the same time seeing your father get hurt trying to protect you. And not just once either. Shyvana has experienced this for years. Imagine having to find a new home, only to wait anxiously for the moment your mother comes and burns everything down while trying to kill you. That must be traumatizing. And I'm certain Shyvana has endured some injuries from these fights with her mother. And it doesn't just stop there. Shyvana's physical abuse is important, but there is another side to this lore. When it comes to childhood maltreatment, the type of abuse experienced is often considered to be multi-type childhood abuse, meaning they experience a combination of abuse. Therefore, it's equally important to look at the emotional abuse. After all, physical wounds will eventually heal, but emotional scars will always remain. Shyvana has endured significant emotional trauma at the hands of her mother. For example, when she tells Shyvana that she was never their child, despite the fact that she technically is their biological child.
Just keep at it, Shyvana. Frustration is a part of learning.
Is that what your father told you? He always did have trouble with letting his emotions get the better of him. It's why you're still alive.
Mother!
You still dare to call me that? You are no child of mine.
I know you've always hated me because I look different from you and Father. But I am still your daughter. I'm still my father's daughter. And the both of us know that I am still a true dragon at heart.
A true dragon? Do you honestly think that the union of true dragons could ever spawn an abomination like you?
I don't care about your approval anymore. Father has taught me how to control my dragon fire, and I'm not afraid to use it, even if you are my mother.
There you go again, still calling us your parents as if that were the truth.
It is the truth.
Oh, I see what's going on here. He hasn't told you.
Told me what?
That you are not our child. You see, you are actually the result of a mage's greed for the fire of my glorious draconic lineage. Yes, you once were an egg destined to pass on the fire from my ancestors, but that mage's intervention tainted you with his human magic. That is why you are pure human. It's because you are. You're no daughter of ours. You're nothing more than a stain on my draconic lineage, twisted by your real father's disgusting perversion.
No! You're lying!
Whether you believe me or not is of no concern to me. I just thought you should know the truth.
My goodness. What a bitch. Shyvana already has issues with being half human and half dragon. Imagine how through the dirt her self-esteem would be knowing her mother never saw her as one of her own, that her mother thought of her as an abomination from birth. Not the best source of encouragement for a growing child. When I read Shyvana's story, I can't help but think of the work of psychologists John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth. Their work specifically with attachment theory. Let me give you the quick rundown. Attachment theory refers to the bond children form with their parental figures and is entirely the result of the responsiveness of their parents. This bond can pretty much determine who you are as a person. You got 3 different styles of attachment: secure, anxious ambivalent, and avoidant. A 4th one called disorganized has been proposed, but people are still trying to figure that one out completely, so I'd rather focus on these 3 for the video. Secure attachment is what parents should try to strive for, because secure attachments overall results in adults with high self-esteem, very trusting and long-lasting relationships, a greater ability to understand their own emotions, and experience intimacy with others. All good stuff that just makes you a very well-rounded and balanced individual. You can see this attachment in childhood as well. Securely attached children are more likely to explore their surroundings and are less afraid to interact with the world around them, because they know their parents are a secure base to return to for help. The parental figure is seen as a secure base because they were responsive to their child's needs. They were there when the infant was hungry. They were there when the child got hurt while playing in the yard. They were there when the adolescent had their big game. They were there when the young adult needed help paying for college. Attachment lasts throughout a lifetime and can change throughout that lifetime, so you may want to make sure it's a secure one. But any chance of a secure attachment gets thrown out the window the moment Yvva tried to kill Shyvana. Instead, she's left with the other two attachment styles, which all have, how do I put it, less than optimal results. Anxious ambivalent attachment results in adults that are insecure and seek approval from others, making them feel overly dependent on their partners. As children, they experience significant distress when their parents are not around, but are not reassured by the return of the parent either. This is the result of parents who are rather inconsistent. Sometimes they're nurturing and emotionally available, and at other times they aren't. The child is unsure if their parental figure is a secure base or not. So the best way to ensure their needs are met is to cling on to them whenever they get the chance. They display this clingy nature as adults as well, and experience huge levels of anxiety at the mere idea of being separated from someone they've grown to like or love. And avoidant attachment can be seen in very distant and emotionally detached adults. They're more suspicious of developing relationships with other people. This behavior has actually served as a defense mechanism after growing up with a parent that ignores their child's needs. These parents discourage things like crying, showing pain from an injury, making their own decisions. Thus, they learn how to suppress and avoid attachment in order to survive in their home. People with an avoidant attachment have difficulty in sharing and understanding their own thoughts and emotions. They have a hard time experiencing intimacy or closeness with anyone. After all, you can't expect someone who was never shown love to be able to give it back to others easily. As you can see, your parents' parenting style while growing up can essentially determine your ability to interact with other people as adults. But Shyvana isn't only susceptible to experiencing the effects of these insecure attachments. A long-term study found that 80% of young adults who had been abused met the diagnostic criteria for at least one psychiatric disorder at age 21, with issues including depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and suicide attempts. So Shyvana's abuse from her mother leaves her vulnerable to a plethora of issues, ranging from the relational setbacks to the more drastic mental disorders. But do you notice something a little off about what I'm telling you? Shyvana doesn't display any of the effects of childhood abuse that we just talked about, as well as neither of the two insecure attachments. In fact, Shyvana's a strong, confident, and capable woman, willing to risk her life to protect others, as we'll see soon enough. So what gives? Have I just been wasting your time telling you information about the impact of parental attachment to the development of a person's social relationship skills, as well as the more drastic outcomes that can arise from parental abuse? No. There's a method to my madness. Although these susceptibilities have been thoroughly studied and correlated to parental abuse, it does not mean everyone is destined to the same fate. If you recall from our video on Yasuo and depression, there's a term for anything that can make a person more likely to develop a certain illness or injury, and that term was risk factors. But now I'm here to discuss the alternate term, if you will, protective factors. These are, as you can probably guess, factors that help prevent a person from developing a certain illness or injury. Protective factors are crucial to maintaining whatever prevention measures are being used to keep the person safe. In Shyvana's case, I'm willing to bet that the reason why Shyvana isn't the shattered human being we'd expect from parental abuse is because of her father. Remember, Shyvana's father actually defended her from Yvva, raised her on his own, and attempted to teach her to control her power. A parent that doesn't want to kill you, but instead wants to help you realize your true potential is an important protective factor that definitely makes Shyvana more resilient to the abuse she experiences from her mother. And that, my people, is the word I choose to describe Shyvana as. Resilient. Thanks to her father, she was able to cope with her mother's abuse and learn to thrive despite her negative experiences growing up. Things were definitely looking up for Shyvana, until her father was brutally murdered by Yvva.
Run, Shyvana!
Father, no!
Listen to me. No matter what your mother told you, you are forever my dragon daughter.
Damn, Yvva. You are just the worst. Are you related to Fizz and or Teemo by any chance? With her father dead, Shyvana was now left alone in this world. The only other biological parent in this world wants her dead, and it's not like she has anyone else to rely on. Or does she? As Shyvana grieved, she fled in search of a strange land her father had told stories of. A place awash with petricite, stones of nullifying power that diminished any nearby magic. This land was known as Demacia. When she reached the outer territories of Demacia, she felt the heavy and oppressive nullifying power, making it difficult to wield her runic powers. So Shyvana remained in human form to make it easier for her and to mask her magic enough to hide from her mother. While hunting for fresh meat, Shyvana followed the scent of blood and came upon an injured warrior named Jarvan. Shyvana carried the semi-conscious Jarvan to the nearest town, despite her fear that she'd be met with the same disdain she'd encountered all of her life. But to her surprise, the locals welcomed her to their town and thanked her for helping the soldier. She saw how the villagers pulled together to nurse Jarvan back to health, even though he was a stranger, and Shyvana observed something she'd never known: camaraderie. She learned that Demacians looked out for each other and desired to be a part of that community. Shyvana finally found a new source of support. Shyvana had understood nothing but anger and rage thanks to her mother, so it's understandable that she'd expected the same from the villagers. After all, how do you expect someone who has never experienced a connection with others besides her father to be able to expect anything different? The fact that she experienced this camaraderie is astounding progress for her socialization, and provides support that will allow her to continue to be resilient. There's just one problem. Yvva eventually found her, but Jarvan convinced her to stop running away like she has been doing all her life. With Jarvan and some villagers by her side, Shyvana proudly stands in defiance against her mother.
Protecting humans now? Can you be any more of a disappointment?
You've hunted me ever since I was born. You've burned down each of our homes. You even killed my father, all because I wasn't the dragon you wanted for your damn lineage. You have taken everything from me. I won't let you take any more!
Tooth and claw tore flesh from bone as the two dragons clashed in a titanic battle. Shyvana ripped Yvva's wing from her back, but her mother locked Shyvana's neck between her razor-sharp jaws. Blood streamed from Shyvana's collarbone, and she collapsed into her human form. As Yvva loomed over her daughter, ready to end the life she had begun, Shyvana channeled all her grief and fury, and summoned the power of the fire rune within her blood. She dug her claws into the mother's flesh and tore the living heart from her chest. As Yvva's lifeblood drained, Shyvana felt no mercy and roared in triumph. After the battle, Jarvan honored Shyvana's bravery, declaring that she would always have a home in Demacia. Shyvana finally understood what it feels to belong to something greater than herself, and swore her service to her newly adopted home. Of course, League of Legends is a game with stories about magic powers, dragons, knights, battles, and more fantasy tropes. But if you take a closer look, what we have here isn't just a story about a half-dragon on the run from her dragon mother, but about a daughter overcoming an abusive mother. A daughter who had been dealt an unfair hand at birth, and has had to learn compassion on her own from another source, whether it be from the community she's grown to love, or, for all you shippers that flock to my channel, from Jarvan himself. The life Shyvana has had to endure is not fair, as is the case with children from abusive households. But support is not limited to biological family like some people like to assume. Anyone has the potential to worry about you and care about your overall well-being. So think about who those people are in your life. You definitely want to keep them around.